welcome to a slightly delayed Link to the Past bit race. This is a new thing that we're doing here. I am Saru, if you don't know, and I am joined by Phyleon, my wonderful co-commentator. Hey, Phyleon.
Hi, Emo. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing well. I've got coffee, so things are good. For those of you who don't know, this is the first public demo of a 2-player bit race, and you may be wondering what are bit races. Well, bit race is a new sort of hack that has been built for the Link to the Past randomizer, and today we've got SakuraTsubasa and WillardJBradley here to demo it for us. The basic premise of bit rates is that as you donate bits here in the ALTTPR channel, you get credits towards bit races. There is a menu, which I believe Triple Factorial just triggered the link to in the chat. And you guys are able to order various effects, which will affect the players. It's super exciting, and it ranges from helpful things to maybe not so helpful things. And yeah, so it's a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys enjoy it as well. I'm going to see if our runners are ready. Okie doke. So we are on the way. And yes, Kevlar, 1 bit equals 1 credit. So when you look at the menu and you see the prices there, you are looking at 1-to-1. 1 bit, 1 credit.
So Emo Saru,
yes.
I'm looking at this menu. I'm seeing things like heart. I'm seeing
Correct.
things like sword upgrade.
Yes.
Are these supposed to help the runners or hurt them?
So there's a mix of both, right? So certainly if you look near the top of the menu, it's mostly things that help our runners, giving them little bits of magic, bigger bits of magic, hearts, fairies, blah, 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 blah. There are temporary and permanent sword, armor, and shield buffs. All of that is cool. But if you look towards the bottom of the menu, you'll see some pretty trolly items. And Spoonie85, no, you do everything in this chat, just FYI. You cannot pull swords below Master Sword. The game has to stay beatable. You also, you cannot directly kill a player, but you can kind of hurt them pretty bad. We have a few really, really cool items, though. One of my favorite things is the ice physics. So you can queue up a minute of ice physics. This is a normal open seed. Anybody who has played one of the festive randomizers, the ice physics is a little bit different than the festive randomizer. In this mode, ice physics affect you everywhere. You can trigger them anywhere. So that includes the Ganon fight, and any other indoor spaces where you would like to trigger them. Just FYI.
That sounds terrifying.
It's, you know, it is. As part of testing this, I have done ice physics Ganon, and it's quite a thing. So I see some people already starting to get their cheers in, starting to think about making some of these effects happen for our runners. But I think at this point we can start just commentating the actual race.
Yeah, well, looks like Willard did a very early Houlihan and is putting off going to the village in favor of, he bought some bombs and he's headed east. I'm not sure what's up with that non-standard routing from him, but we'll see if it pays off, of course.
You know, I think many things about Willard are pretty non-standard, and so in some ways this is the most Willard play that you can make. But certainly, you know, grabbing those 3 chests out of Sahasrala's little hut here. Oh,
and I think that was our first big sabotage play of the night. Willard just lost all his money from someone's bits.
Yep. So that's the way that bit races go, right? You know, pro tip, be mindful of stream delay. You know, if you really want to go for maximum effect, you know, be sure to get your effects in just a little bit early. Make sure that that stream delay works out for you.
I want to be clear. I'm definitely not telling anyone to do this, but if you wanted to take someone's bombs away, before, say they got to Mini Moldorm Cave, just plan a bit in advance. But I'm absolutely not telling anyone watching this to do that.
Right. On the other hand, I'm definitely telling people to do that. You know, I'm a big fan of the trolls here, especially if we control Willard a little bit. He knows what he did, and I think he deserves it.
Boy, did he ever. Looks like SakuraTsubasa was just given a free sword.
Oh,
well, free for her, not so much for whoever granted it to her.
That's correct. And it was, in fact, a permanent sword upgrade. So that is not a 1-minute sword upgrade. She's got that forever now. There are still multiple swords out in the world. Willard putting the flippers in Eastern Palace. But obviously she can't go above butter, so.
And there's an Ether Medallion being maybe the first real value we see out of the village, where... Oh, there's a second sword. Technically the first of the game for Sakura, but we'll take her second. So
she's going to need to remember that she was given a sword, so this does not put Aga in the logic just yet. And she may have just gotten another sword upgrade. Ooh, my goodness, and the mitts on the bottle vendor. So this is a nice Kakariko here. No, Scatter, we are not using Auto Tracker. We have the thing that is better than Auto Tracker. We have Tear tracking. He is both man and machine and more accurate than both combined.
Yeah, big shoutouts to Tear for signing up to this and sitting in as we see just what happens to these runners.
And Kanizi Obrizi, big thanks to you. I believe SakuraTsubasa may in fact have Butter Sword at this point, thanks to some rather large donations. So Saku getting a lot of love here in the early part of this race. Meanwhile, Willard has chosen to not get a lot of that progression and make instead the very early Eastern Palace play. So we'll see if he can get some value out of here.
I like how Willard was going through that Stalfos room, and instead of just blitzing through it like normal, he stopped. He picked up every rupee drop he could because he knows he's going to be losing that money from chat.
That's correct. Now, the thing about it is that the amount of bits it costs to take rupees away or grant them is proportional to the number of rupees that you are taking away. So it's important to be mindful when you're taking them away, right? Remember that if you're trying to make somebody have trouble with Zora, you don't actually need to take away all their rupees. You just need to get them under 500. So remember that you can play the game at all sorts of different levels here.
So it looks like Sakura might be doing the hula hand play as well. She's, of course, sitting on plenty of money right now, but that, as we've already seen, can go away so quickly.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, Willard's trip to Eastern has at least given him the Cane of Brian, or Burnham, but nothing else, and it looks like he's going to save and quit out of here.
Absolutely. Okay, so Willard choosing to bomb Zelda. We're not entirely sure what's up with that. Maybe taking out a little bit of bit race induced rage on the NPCs here.
And I do see popping up in chat a couple times per viewer cooldown time not finished. So chat, I know you're really excited to send those bits either for or against the runners, but there is a timeout period on these requests.
That's correct. We want to make sure that, you know, if you guys really want to screw them quickly, you're going to need to work together as a team. You know, one person, Hiei, can't just come in, you know, and just destroy the game. You know, we like to get you guys to work together.
All right, so Sakura's made her way down to the South Shore area. We're going to see what she can pull this off with. I didn't see what was in the Lumberjack Cave. Did you catch that?
I missed it, unfortunately. I was reading chat for questions. Probably nothing important, so we'll go with that.
Let's say that.
Either way, it was Willard that checked it, so whatever.
So it looks like the Hoarder Crab is throwing up 20 rupees each time here. In a race where we've already seen almost 1,000 rupees taken away from the runners, I think.
Yeah.
That's going to be a pretty useful thing for them.
Absolutely. So Saku making quick work of the mini Moldorm Cave here with the sword beams from her very, very early and inappropriate butter sword.
You know, when I see a butter sword 8 minutes into the game, I'm reminded of that spring tournament when swords weren't progressive and you could just have that at the start of the game.
Absolutely. I mean, this is, this is the, in some ways, the return of V18, the early butter sword. Piece of heart on Lumberjack, according to Time Slowdown. Thank you so much for the clarification.
And was that a bug net that was just given to Sakura?
I believe so, yes. For anybody who doesn't know, the bug net is one of several items that is in the menu as being grantable directly for money or for bits and credits. Saku has a bit of an obsession with the bug net, so we may be looking forward to seeing some bug net swaganim strats from her later.
An obsession, I think, is the right way to categorize it. Meanwhile, Willard's made his way back into the village, finally buys that power glove from the vendor.
And Saku's other favorite item, the Cane of Burna, has been granted as well. So GG chat, you have fully enabled Meme Saku.
What have you wrought?
Yeah, it's terrible things. Now, Saku is actually the only person I know, oh my goodness. Saku is the only person I know who is actually better at the Aga 2 fight with the bug net than with the sword. So this is actually a huge boon to her going into the rest of this game.
So that makes me wonder then, why is chat giving her both a sword upgrade and the bug net?
Well, Phyleon, unfortunately, you cannot kill every enemy in the game with the bug net. It's a relatively small set of enemies that can be killed with the bug net.
Rules, rules, rules.
Always, 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 always. Now, you cannot directly give one of our runners the flute. I saw somebody talking about that in chat. But I would like to point out that there are commands for both activating and deactivating a runner's flute. I particularly enjoy deactivating the flute. Maybe, say, right after they've fluted to Mire or Death Mountain. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, just up that number of save and quits the runners have to do to keep playing the game.
Absolutely. Ooh, Saku getting some bombs stolen from her. So it looks like maybe some of Willard's supporters are starting to get engaged.
Not that that's going to stop people from taking away Willard's bombs, as he's back 10-0, and of course, I think he still doesn't have a sword, or maybe he's picked one up.
No, I think he does have the fighter sword that he should have gotten here.
Oh, that's right. There was one in the well.
And just so people are aware, you cannot actually take somebody's sword completely away. And once they have the Master Sword, you cannot send them below the Master Sword. Like I said, the game does need to remain beatable, so it's not possible to put them into an unbeatable state.
Oh, that's the Cane of Samaria on the island in Lake Highland.
Oh, goodness.
Well, Willard at least knows that, but he's not going to be able to do anything about it till he's got Dark World access and Mirror.
Yeah. At the very least, with that, with those early flippers, they'll be prepared to do it as soon as they can. Because that Samaria is definitely. Oh my god! And the book is at Zora. So I think Willard is actually making the correct play here for the logic with those flippers to come get the book.
Yeah, I see someone in chat trying to take away his money. Unfortunately, they got hit by the cooldown.
Oh, no.
We're going to see if that money comes away in time, but I don't think it will.
No, it looks like he's made it. So, unfortunately, Willard will be receiving this useless piece of heart. But he did have a heart container stolen from him, which is which is exciting.
And how low can those heart containers go? Down to 3?
I believe that's correct, yeah. Also, just FYI, there is a global limit on removing... Actually, that's not true. It's a global limit on removing heart containers. Each viewer can only remove a heart container once, and there's a maximum of 3 heart containers removed per seed per player. So you can't kill them, but you can make things a little bit more difficult for them. And it might prompt Willard to pick up some of those heart containers he might ordinarily ignore. Ooh, and the Moon Pearl and the... Wow. The Moon Pearl and the Mirror in Waterfall Fairy Cave.
Jeez, those flippers did come in handy. Looks like Sakura's headed to Eastern, though, so she'll get them soon.
Yeah, shockingly, Willard's ridiculous early Eastern play actually the play.
Who let that happen?
I don't know. You know, the rumor on the internet was that he was bad, but here we are, and I'm very confused. And Zoom, no, they cannot go down below 3 hearts total.
So I like that there. Sakura goes into the back of Sahasrah's hut, finds that blue cane, and of course, she's already got it, so it doesn't wreck anything. It's just, oh, hey, now you still have the item you had before.
That's exactly correct. It's similar to what happens in the customizer nowadays when you set up initial equipment. It's still out in the world, you just happen to start with it. And Willard picked up the boots somewhere. I missed it, but those are exciting. Unfortunately, he's just had ice physics cast on him, and if you're not aware, boots do not really do the thing you'd like them to do on the ice physics. They slow you down, and so the only advantage you really get from the boots is that that you've got your sword out and are less vulnerable as a result.
Yeah, look at that old man dashing going on there.
Yep. And yes, the seed is normal open, so there's nothing too funky going on here. We want to just a pretty easy to follow rando race for you guys as we demo this cool new system.
You mean we don't want to take this system and put on Hell Entrance Key Sanity the first time we do it?
Well, I do, but you know there's other factors to consider.
I'll leave you to try to find someone to do that with for your race.
Pretty sure Willard would do it. He's crazy.
Looks like that ice is worn off of Willard. He'll probably be thankful for that.
So one thing to be aware of for chat is that ice physics is one of several things that queue. So if you wanted to have more than 1 minute of ice physics, you can feel free to work together to order several in a row, and it will apply one after the other, just FYI.
And let's be clear, again, I'm an impartial commentator. I'm not encouraging anyone to do that. Not at all.
I am an absolutely partial commentator. So I, on the other hand, think you should do it as much as humanly possible. So Joshko asking a really good question. Where do the bits go to? While we're not going to get too specific right now, what I can tell you is that the bits are ultimately split between the players running the race, the creators of the bit race system, as well as the channel that we're hosting it on, in this case, the ALTTP randomizer channel. So there's a split of all the bit revenue.
It looks like Willard's carrying a fish over to the lake. He must really want the drop from that.
Yeah, I think, Willard's trying to stock up, and he's hoping... Oh, and just barely getting in there. I think he's hoping, that small magic was probably not what he was hoping for out of there. That's it's a little disappointing for him, I'm sure. It's not the drop that Willard needed, but it's the drop that Willard deserved, I think.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So 17 minutes into the seed, he's finally made his way down to the mini Moldorm cave.
Correct. And he does have a... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying, I'm not sure if that's due to some strange routing he's done, or if that's due to the other stuff kind of messing with his play, as he gets ice physics cast on him again and loses a single rupee.
Yeah, I think the best answer is probably, which of those things is it? Yes. I would imagine that it's a combination of all of them. Ooh, Willard getting a sword upgrade from Vantalis. So that's interesting. Heretofore we've mostly seen Willard getting trolled a little bit. This is the first nice thing that's happened to him, and I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I do like the play he made where he got ice physics cast on him, so he just started swimming.
Yeah, now that's really smart, actually, because ice physics does not impact swimming.
And we can see the trouble he has when he's on land is that ice physics makes him face check his own bomb that he put down.
Absolutely, yeah. So here you're seeing the queued ice physics, right? So as one expired, another one began.
So Sakura made it finally under the bridge to the hobo, got those boots that we were wondering where they came from. At this point, I'm looking at what the runners have. I'm thinking about where they've been. I think Willard's making kind of the only play left, which is to go over to Agina's cave and maybe even enter Desert Palace.
Yeah, I mean, short of a fire source, we do actually have full access to Desert at this point, so I think it's a good play.
Never mind, Willard's making a liar out of me.
Willard finding corners a little bit hard to navigate with ice physics. That can definitely happen. Making excellent use of sword strats to try and direct his momentum here. And it looks like Saku also got some ice physics over on her side as she tries to pull these chests out of the Waterfall Fairy Cave. Yeah,
and
Willard
the ice doesn't let up for Willard.
Now, Willard may end up playing a fair amount of the seed with ice physics from the looks of things. Just a little useless shield on the race game.
Oh, I see. Willard's headed to the library because he does have those boots.
Absolutely.
I am a bit surprised he didn't go for that heart container, given that he's already had one taken away from him.
I think, Willard plays a lot of the harder randomizer modes. I think he may be feeling pretty confident on his ability to execute through this. And I wouldn't say that he's wrong about that. Ice physics are, they're a multiplier on the degree of difficulty, but they certainly don't make the game impossible. If you're really confident with your execution in general, I think you can certainly work through it. And I would love to I should probably open up a stream. I would love to be looking at Willard's face right now. It's just this constant stream of ice spells hitting him over and over and over again. Just to reiterate, the bits are split between the runners, the channel, and the creator maintainer of the Bit Race service. You were going to say something really quick, Philion.
Oh, I was just going to point out something I saw happen on Sakura's side. She had 1,000 rupees. Someone tried to take 600 rupees away from her, but she managed to buy from Zora just in time. So just a reminder out there to everyone watching, we do have a Twitch delay on this. If you want to do that sniping trick where you steal something from someone just before they try to use it, make sure you get in there just a bit ahead of time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm being told that Willard's face cam is off anyway, which is unfortunate. Willard getting... Oh, no break for Willard from the ice physics at all. So just one more quick thing about the bit races here. Right now, we've got both of these runners are playing on emulator, specifically.
Ooh, and there's the hammer in Desert.
Wow. Okay, that's a good find. Willard making a lot of the right plays here, that's for sure. So right now, both of our runners are playing on SNES 9X on emulator. It is worth noting that if you are a console player and you play on the Super Nintendo with the SD to SNES flash cartridge, and it does have to be particularly that flash cartridge. This also works on that via a USB connection to your cartridge. So we're trying to make this available to as many people as possible in the long run.
So I can see that Sakura went up Death Mountain. Of course, doesn't have the lantern, so she had to sequence break to do that.
Yes.
She took really good advantage of that because she did it when she didn't have any ice physics turned on. That gives me a great idea. I hope we don't see a lamp for most of this race, and these runners have to do dark rooms in the dark with ice physics.
So having done some of them, I can tell you that yes, I'm very excited to see that. You know, that ice physics doesn't make it too much more difficult, but it does make it very difficult to predict where you are in the dark. Unfortunately for us, as viewers, both of our runners have swords of varying levels, and so we won't get to see the maximum difficulty version of that, but we can still enjoy it.
And we did get a map check briefly from Sakura. I think it was all crystals in the light world, though I didn't catch if there was a red one in there anywhere.
Yeah. Definitely all crystal light world is a good sign for these runners.
Oh look, someone has decided that Willard needs more ice physics in his life.
You know, I think it's a reasonable decision. You know, I don't know if needs is the right word, but I think, you know, he should have them. He should have them. And yes,
Who are we?
Trinex on ice is actually a lot of fun. As part of testing this and doing some of the development work, helping people out on it. Oh, and Willard, unfortunately, falling off because of the ice physics. That is a bummer. Let's see what he does. He's taken a second to just regroup. Looks like he might go into Agana's cave before he jumps back in. I have done most of the bosses on ice physics, and I can tell you that they are all a ton of fun. All a ton of fun.
So most of the bosses sound, you know, annoying, but a bit straightforward. What happens on
all right,
when that floor is moving?
Willard is choosing to, he was threatening to be Willard. If you can excuse me for just 1 second, I'll be right back.
Absolutely. So Sakura's turning in that bottle to Sick Kid, but not getting a ton of value out of that. Looks like Willard made the right play by actually going to Desert. So hopefully Sakura's going to head there soon because she needs that hammer that Willard's already got for Dark World access.
Okay, I am back. Sorry for that. I had to, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Now, what happened there?
Okay, now, so one of the things that is going on here, so there's the server that's running the Bit Races application, and we have our runners running a client on their side, and that client does a lot of things, but they all get sent from the server. So I do believe that our server admin on the back end may in fact have opted to send Willard a message and let him know that we see him, we see what's going on.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
We did get a map check from him. I think that was Crystal, and now I can't remember what any of them were.
That's why we've got Tear.
Tear's updating the tracker. We had a Crystal 6 at Swamp, we had a pendant at Pod, a pendant at Ice, and a pendant at Mire, it looks like.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, you know, Tear, so good. And, you know, I think that if it was possible to track on ice physics, I don't think Tear would be affected very much by it at all.
Tracking on ice physics where your cursor keeps sliding even though you've moved it?
That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct.
All right, so Willard's going to head to the Bombos tablet. Maybe the correct way to do so from the Dark World here.
Yes. Not the way that he may in fact have been attempting to get up there a little bit ago. Ooh, and the ice rod for his trouble.
Now, is that going to protect him from ice physics in the slightest?
No, not at all. There is no escape from ice physics, just FYI. The only escape from ice physics for Willard, I think at this point, is bankruptcy on the part of Saku's supporters here. You know, now one thing that's really interesting, and I can say this from experience in testing here, sometimes it's better and more truly to give the runners a little bit of a break from ice physics. Over time, you start to get used to it, and it becomes predictable, and you kind of get good at the movement. One thing that I found to be particularly effective is ice physics triggering unexpectedly at a really bad time. So I'd encourage all of our viewers to experiment with different strategies for applying the ice physics for maximum effect.
So now I'm thinking, like, wait until they're partway through a boss fight and time it for that, so
That's
that...
definitely one option, yes.
Okay.
One great place for ice physics to trigger is when you're traversing a narrow pathway where you have to press a lot of directions really precisely. Like, for example, the 4 torch room in Ganon's tower. Activating it midway through that room can be quite effective. Just remember that stream delay when you're trying to make that happen.
So Willard, while he's in the area of Swamp Palace, is actually going to check it out and do... Oh, he got the hook shot at some point along the line.
He did.
So we're actually going to see a full dungeon clear from him relatively early.
Willard getting a, thus far, very rare reprieve from the ice physics, but I'm sure they'll be back. Meanwhile, Saku getting a relatively rare bout of ice physics.
It looks like the tables from chat have turned and people are starting to throw things at her as well.
You know, there's definitely love for Willard out there, you know, and there's all sorts of different kinds of love that we have in the community. It's a very loving community. You know, there's, you know, sort of, you know, genuine loving love, and you know, then there's, in some cases, more malicious kinds of love.
That seems to be what's in store for the runners tonight. Looks like that hookshot was actually in Hype Cave, as was the Blue Mail upgrade.
And actually, semi-Hype Cave. It's impressive.
Now here's the interesting thing. Obviously, Willard has the hookshot, but did he get a mail upgrade, or did he get, you know, one step into Hype Cave and then have his bombs taken away?
Oh, that may have been what happened, actually. He may not have been able to bomb the back. Or he made, yeah, somebody took his bombs. So, well done, chat. Well done.
That is exactly the kind of mean-spirited play I like to see directed at our runners.
That's exactly correct.
I mean, they're both good people. I think the world of them, but sometimes we just need something mean.
I think, you know, this is the viewer's opportunity, you know, to let these runners know how they really feel. And clearly, they feel pretty bad about these runners. And they want to let them know, you know, that it's just, it's not acceptable what they do, you know, and they need to be punished. I think that's where we're all at. Now Daniel Oberon has a really great question about the hammer yump. And again, from testing, I can tell you, it is possible and not fun. So yes, I'm hoping we do get to see that.
It just requires a lot of pause buffering, I think. Now, here's a question that I don't actually know the answers to. If you are doing something like pausing a bunch on and off while you're trying to set up a bomb jump, does that minute of ice physics count down as you're on the pause screen?
Yes, it does. So all of the timed effects are in real time, right? Not in-game time or frame counter time. They are in real time. So while it is true that it's possible to just sort of sit there and, you know, wait out an effect, You know, I think, especially given what we've seen so far today, you can generally assume that if you do that, chat's not going to like it so much, and you're probably not going to be rewarded for your insolence.
I'm thinking you'll probably just get more of the same thing if you try to stave that off.
I would imagine so. And again, just to let everybody know in chat, we're not getting into the super detailed information today, but the bits that are being donated here and used to troll our runners are split actually between the runners themselves, the bit race service. There is a backend server and there's a cost to maintaining it, etc., as well as the channel that's hosting the race. So today, your bits are going to support both Saku, WillardJBradley, the ALTTPR channels, and the creators of Bit Races. And I think, yeah, Sports Hefe, you've got the right idea. My bad side is not actually that bad of a place to be on. I'm very nice, even if I don't seem it sometimes. Except to Futon.
She's very, very nice, but I still wouldn't want her throwing bits at me in a bit race.
No, you definitely don't. No, I'm very mean in bit races.
So it looks like both runners now in Swamp Palace getting ice physics cast against them. And there's the lamp for Willard. Sakura's going to be getting that soon. So my dream of dark rooms for these runners looks like it's going to die.
Yep, I'm a little bit sad about it. The ice physics dark rooms are a lot of fun. Unfortunately, so there are effects that are still in development and have not been released yet, and you know, due to various issues that make them complicated. One of those effects being the ability to disable somebody's light cone for a minute. So it is a bummer that we don't have that one right now, but it is coming in the future. Willard appears to...
oh no.
Appears to have gotten himself into an interesting state here with his input, where we had a perpetual left movement being triggered by the ice physics. Fortunately, very resourceful and able to dash his way through the door and overcome it with the screen transition.
But look at Sakura's side here.
Yeah, now, okay, so here's an interesting thing that can happen. The thing about ice physics indoors, when you're in rooms that have multiple layers and stair transitions there, it is actually possible to end up in EG, exploration glitch, which is a major glitch in Link to the Past. And that's what I believe happened to Saku there. She ended up in EG, unfortunately, and had to bail.
I think if you played any of the Festive Seeds about a month and a half ago, similar things might have happened to you where you tried to run into a door the wrong way.
Correct. Now, it was a little bit rarer in the Festive Seeds because generally outdoor routing, you don't have that same layer traversal issue that you have indoors, which exacerbates it quite a bit. But yeah, Willard with an excellent Argus fight despite those ice physics.
Congratulations, Willard. You've collected your first crystal in the first ever restreamed bit race. And Willard's going back now to Hype Cave now that he's got some bombs. I don't see any commands in chat that would have taken them away, so he's going to get his blue mail.
He's so excited he can't even pick up the chests. He can't believe that he actually made it into this room with bombs. And, I don't blame him. You know, you play this and you start to expect the worst, and it definitely changes your outlook on the whole game, that's for sure.
Yeah, now I'm a bit surprised we're not seeing him go back to Lake Hylia right now. Kane of Samaria is there, and I'm pretty sure he saw it.
Yeah, now we'll see what he's doing here. Okay, so he's gonna go down here. Now the thing we have to watch out for with Willard, for anybody who doesn't know, Willard is a dirty cheater. So we're definitely in the vicinity of some overrolled clips that I know he likes to do when he's trying to be cute. So we're gonna watch out for him and see what he does. Okay, thus far we're safe. It appears my earlier warning to him may have taken effect.
If things get too nasty with what Willard's doing, I'm sure whoever's running the back end can type up a little message for him on screen again.
I think at the very least we'll get another message on the screen if he tries to do that. There are a few big time save skips that I would not be surprised to see him try.
So Sakura just got ice cast on her in this multi-layered room. We're going to have to see if she can navigate it without entering EG by accident.
So, as you can see, Saku getting trolled again. The EG glitch is definitely a little bit punishing, but she is being shown some love with a single heart.
Meanwhile, Willard, over at the digging game, finds a piece of heart and shows us a nice little shovel dash on his way out of the screen.
Yeah. The best part about that shovel dash is that it's completely useless because it actually disables items being dug up by the shovel when you do it.
Oh, but it looks cool, and isn't that what we're all about here?
Absolutely. It's not worth doing if you can't look cool while you're doing it. That's what I always say.
So Willard, forgetting he doesn't have the mitts yet, but he does have the power gloves, so it looks like he's going to head to the Dark World. We'll see our first Village of Outcasts check.
Absolutely. So chat already coming up with some interesting ideas for things to add to the Bit Race menu. There are a lot of really great ideas out there, and you know, hopefully we're able to see more and more of them incorporated over time. One interesting thing about bees, if you've never played Seeds with the bees enabled, is that bees actually spawn as a lot of sprites, and technically they are capable of despawning other sprites, which include small keys. So that's one of the reasons that there's a little bit of complexity to spawning the bees, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen at some point.
Things in development.
Always.
Oh, and there's the silvers for Willard.
Very nice. That's going to make that ice physics Ganon fight a good bit easier for him.
Now, I'm looking at the menu here. There's an option for get silver arrows. There's nothing to remove them, is there?
No, there's currently no taking away of silver arrows, which, in my opinion, is a gross oversight now that I see it, you know, happening here in Willard's situation.
Yeah, at the very least, even if he has to do that Ice Ganon fight, he won't have to do it silverless, unless his arrows go away.
See, now there is that option. There definitely is that option.
Now, keep in mind, arrows are an interesting thing. If you look at your menu, you'll see that depending on the number of crystals you've picked up, am I reading this right? Arrows cost more to remove?
Yeah, so there are a few items like that. Basically, the closer that you get to the end of the game, the more it costs to screw with people. So early game, it's relatively easy to screw with people a lot. But when you're on Ganon, you know, that changes things. Oh, Willard getting... no, he didn't get bunny beamed. He just stopped weirdly.
No, he just still looks like a cat for some reason.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Sakura finished up her Argus fight, and she, it looks like, has remembered that Samaria is sitting in Lake Hylia, and she's going to go pick that up.
I think this is a good play. You know, having that Cane of Samaria is definitely going to open up a lot for her.
And I'm thinking, you know, if you head to the back part of Skull Woods, to try to do that block push puzzle with ice physics going on as Gibdos are swarming around you and you're losing hearts from chat being mean to you, I'd much rather just bypass that room with a single cane block.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is correct, Daniel Oberon. You actually, once you get over Master Sword, you're not able to take away swords after that. We have to ensure that the game stays beatable.
Alright, so Willard making his way through Thieves Town. Nothing too bad happening to him just yet, although he's a bit low on hearts to complete the whole dungeon this way. Meanwhile, Sakura, hot on his heels, probably going the same way.
Yeah, I think definitely, you know, getting into Thieves, getting into Skullwoods in the back, I think is a good play. Although, again, Willard without that Canis Maria, if he chooses to go right up there, it's going to be interesting. And Willard did, in fact, have all of his arrows stolen.
Fortunately for Willard, he knows where all the arrow pickups seem to be, unless he just grabbed that pot at random.
No, I think Willard has a pretty strong awareness of where you can find the arrows. Playing the NMG vanilla speedrun will definitely give you that awareness. Arrows are generally the most precious commodity in that run.
I see that Willard just had something called debuff magic stuck on him. What does that do? Does that make his magic expend faster?
Now, I forget whether Willard actually had half magic or not. But it will, I forget whether it will go below single magic or not. It may. But yes, in general, the idea is that it does the equivalent of negating the effects of half magic. So it takes you down one level.
Alright, Sakura looks like found the Titan's Mitt in the C-shaped house. Willard has skipped that over for the time being. I mean, I'm sure he'll be in there as soon as he's finished with this blind fight.
I would imagine so.
Because, you know, the blind fight is very easy as long as you can control your movement perfectly.
Correct. Which, we're just receiving an ice spell here in the middle of the blind fight.
Well, that's 2 phases down, but he's starting to run low on health with this.
He's definitely in a little bit of trouble here.
Can he hold down to half a heart?
Oh, he does have
And he's
Samaria.
going for the cane strats.
Or Burna, sorry.
That'll do it. As he spins across the room.
Yeah. And it did look to me that his magic, at one point or another, may have actually... No, it's going on at standard right now because I think that debuff was off.
So, nice try, chat, but you might need a bit more work than that.
Willard too good.
To take out Willard.
You can't mess with him too bad.
Don't let that stop you from trying, though.
Oh, absolutely. I don't care how good you are. When we get to that Ganon fight, let me tell you, it is non-trivial.
Willard, you're supposed to go in the door, not bonk on the side of it.
Willard, a little bit concerned about that ice physics on the stairs. Now, the thing about it is here, can't dash up the stairs. Willard.
Oh no!
But he can walk. So,
and he's out.
Just to clarify, the EG issue only occurs in interior spaces with multiple layers. That room actually only has a single layer in it, despite having 2 sort of visual levels.
Alright, so Willard picking up his Titan's Mitt. We'll see what he decides to do with that. I'm surprised slightly that no runner has even checked Skull Woods for anything.
Yeah, I'm a little bit perplexed by that too. I certainly don't blame Willard for not wanting to go in there without that Canis Maria, but I am a little bit surprised he hasn't gone and gotten it.
Yeah, I can understand why you would just avoid it without the cane, but why wouldn't you get the cane? Willard picking up a phantom block from the ice physics, it looks like.
Yeah, so what actually happened there was he was able to, I think, start a pickup animation while sliding on the ice physics, which is not something that the game generally expects, and consequently we got some weirdness.
Alright, just 20 rupees at the Hammer Peg Cave. And we'll see what he tries to do here. He might do the Smiths, he might head into Skull Woods. Sakura's getting a bit low on health, but looks like she'll make it through Thieves Town.
Unfortunately, she's got powder, and there are lots of opportunities in Thieves to powder things, including right here. And it does look like Willard is going to go ahead and do the Smith's play here. Good to get it out of the way. And we'll see. I don't believe that he's done the magic bat, so we'll see if he opts to do that while he's here.
That's right. Both runners picked up powder in, I think it was Swamp Palace, the 2 chests that start out flooded.
I believe so. So Math Girl asking whether ice physics change things in Ice Palace. And the answer is it is slightly different, actually, but not by much. Because this ice physics is a little bit more global. It changes certain rooms, and yeah, it gets interesting. It's hard to explain. It's easier to feel, but it is a little bit different. And if I was just watching chat correctly, I believe somebody just ordered quarter magic for WillardJBradley. So Willard finally catching a significant break here.
Yeah. Sakura having no trouble with this blind fight so far, using Cane of Samaria really effectively.
Absolutely, and not having ice physics definitely helps.
And Willard taking that purple chest home to Gary. Let's see what happens there in a few seconds. And just 10 arrows from the purple chest. So, bit of a time sink there.
Absolutely.
Let's see what Willard does. He looks like he's going to the Dark World. Maybe we'll see him pick up that cane.
This is an interesting... Okay, yeah, he just decided not to go around the left side. So hopefully, maybe this is the point at which Willard goes to grab his... Nope. Unless he's going to go around from the top, which is an option.
Yes.
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 Looks like that's the play. For some reason, when you just said, yes, I was reminded of Bop by famed 90s child group Hanson.
Oh, no.
Who are all really hot now, except for the drummer, who still looks super dorky. But that's a story for another day.
Alright, Willard running around Lake Hylia in the Dark World. Maybe gonna use the warp to go up to the Sanctuary area and get the King's Tomb and the Graveyard Ledge?
That might be the play.
Or maybe just gonna make his way up to Catfish. No, he's going to North Dark World here.
Yep.
Interesting way of getting there, but, you know, I'm not going to tell him how to route his game, just that I don't like it.
It's, yeah. It's not that he's wrong, it's just that he's bad. And, you know, that's, the rumors are true. You know, I've heard that on the internet, and here we are, you know, seeing it in person.
Alright, Sakura gonna drop off the Smith here, not really getting anything out of value, or out of it that has any value.
Unfortunately for her, but,
And King's Tomb just with the heart container for Willard.
We'll get to see what's in this north of Graveyard Ledge, which is already exciting.
Okay, okay. A heart container.
Not bad to have, but probably not what he was looking for. Chat talking a little bit about the flute, and yes, I'm very excited for the flute to show up. You know, I don't know how I know that Sakura is relatively familiar with the list of options on the menu. I think Willard is maybe a little bit less familiar, so that that unduck command may come as quite a surprise to Willard when and if we get the flute.
The only worry I have is that I look at the tracker here. Misery Mire's a pendant. I'm really hoping we get that early flute, or at least a flute before the tower.
Just a little heart piece on the bumper cave ledge. So I think this is Willard's first trip up Death Mountain, right? Saku went fairly early up here, but I don't think Willard's been at all yet.
And Willard opting to dash with the old man, since he's on ice physics anyways, that'll make it easier for him than just trying to walk through. Yep. Perhaps the only time old man dashing has ever been a good idea.
That's correct. It has the interesting benefit of allowing you to actually move effectively in a straight line. And Willard using that to great effect.
So Willard's going to be the first of these two to head to East Death Mountain. I would not be surprised in the slightest if we saw him do all of this, head over and take out Tower of Hera at this time.
I think that's a solid play at this point.
And heck, he's got the Ice Rod. We might even see a dip into Turtle Rock.
Hey Saku, just double check that your services are all still connected. A couple people in chat are saying that some of your ice physics you just got isn't fine.
Let's not go in the pause menu. We may be, just so everybody's aware, this is definitely still in a beta state. So there may be a case.
Oh, I've got things up. Might just need a refresh. Willard hitting into Tower of Hera. Just a big 20 in the basement. And our wonderful, wonderful tracker, Tear, pointing out that he caught Willard finding the bow probably upstairs in Paradox Cave. So, you know, I was hoping nothing great came out of there for him, and seemed to have not had that wish granted.
Ooh, Willard, unfortunately, walking a little bit too far there and missing the invulnerability. Trying to shoot these blocks with the Ice Rod, it's an interesting strategy that one could choose to use if you were so inclined.
I mean, you've got Quarter Magic in his state. That gives you, what, 32 Ice Rod shots to the bar?
I believe so, but it's also still a terrible idea, I think. So it's really interesting to see that strat coming into play here.
I think it does put a lot of leg on the screen.
It does. That is very true.
And Sakura now having to deal with those ice physics is going to have a bit of trouble in desert, perhaps, but she's going to make her way back to the Landmo fight.
Yeah, no, I believe that there had been, so part of the reason for the pause is that some ice physics effects had been queued up. She was having client, bit race client issues, so we've restarted that, and all of those queued effects are now taking hold of her.
So we can expect several ice physics to come through for her if multiple were queued up.
She may be through it at this point, but there was definitely some stuff that was pending. So now one thing I will tell you guys is that Moldorm is one of those fights that's a ton of fun with ice physics. So just be advised, especially this one with the big hole in the middle of the arena. It's a lot of fun.
Look, that hole doesn't matter at all unless you fall down it. And Willard definitely won't fall down any holes in Tower of Hera here.
Certainly he won't fall down any more holes in Tower of Hera than the one he already fell in.
Ooh, Sakura getting that ice messing with her so that the Igor keeps hitting her as he tries to light those torches.
Yeah, now that's one thing about A Link to the Past that's really, really interesting. When they tuned the movement rates for the enemies, they're actually tuned to be able to keep up with you. It's actually very hard to get away from them once you've been hit by them. Willard making quick work of that mold arm, nice and easy,
fight.
slow and steady. Very nicely done, given the ice physics.
And Sakura getting a boost of a heart container as she wrecks 2 heads of Lammo with that ice rod.
I don't think we called Saku a he.
I called the Igor a he.
Yeah,
which may have been incorrect. Alright, so Willard has his 3rd crystal from Tower of Hera, as Saku gets her 3rd from Desert Palace. Willard's now headed over to Eastern Death Mountain. We're going to see a spiral cave on ice physics, and then maybe a Dark World check.
This is a ton of fun. You still get the benefit of having your sword out, but it's definitely not quite so satisfying as running through here without the ice physics. But Willard getting a reprieve.
And Sakura also getting a reprieve so she can do some dash strats to get by those giant cabbages. Still getting hit by a few, but we'll probably see her Tower of Hera right now.
Oh, Willard just barely missing that block clip. That is a tough one. That is a tough one.
Was that induced by the ice physics he had on?
No, he did not have ice physics at the time. That was just unfortunate.
So it goes. And Super Bunny Cave having 20 rupees and a mushroom for him, which he seems pretty displeased with.
Yeah, not thrilled with. So I see that some people try to do these sword down. One thing to keep in mind is that your sword palette will not actually update in all situations, but the damage will go down. Just FYI.
And of course, that sword can't go below master level, because it's always going to stay up at that level so that you can beat Ganon, even if it's the painful way.
That's correct.
And Ether Medallion. Ether Medallion required for Turtle Rock, so Willard has that access right now. Looks like he might head inside.
Turtle Rock without the Fire Rod is always a little bit of a gamble, but it is one that tends to pay off.
I mean, he doesn't have the Fire Rod now. Would not be the first time I've seen the Fire Rod in Turtle Rock.
Right. So I've just been talking with one of the devs, and just so you guys are aware, all of the timed effects, the temporary sword up, sword down, will not actually change the graphics of your sword, although the damage change does take effect instantaneously. The permanent purchases will actually change the sprite, but the game does not reload those graphics immediately, only when you do an indoor to outdoor or vice versa transition.
Alright, one small key for Willard in the Spike and Laser Eye room, so he can keep going into this dungeon if he wants.
Absolutely. We'll see how far we get. He at least gets back to these chain chomps, but...
And Sakura's gonna fight Moldorm here. She does have the buttered sword, but she's switching to the hammer. Let's see if she can make this fight as quick as Willard was able to make it. Fortunately, she's not dealing with ice physics. That's 2 hits.
And
only needs 1 more.
We've got another key on Willard's side, so we are going further into the back of this dungeon, for sure.
And that'll make 4 crystals for Sakura so far.
So chat talking about some ROM hack wizardry. Just so you guys know, this is actually a pretty substantial effort. It's actually work on the ROM hack for some of these effects. It's also there's a whole client server application here, and we're using a combination of systems for manipulating the memory in the game in real time. So yeah, it's a pretty impressive undertaking, if I do say so myself. And I do, because I just did.
I guess I'll permit it. Only because I can't kick you off commentary, because that would leave me alone here.
There you go. So what we're saying right now is that I'm invulnerable. Well, chat, get ready, because apparently it's my time to shine. No, Tara, you cannot replace me.
I was wondering when we'd hear that from our fantastic
I respond
tracker.
in chat. No.
Alright, so Willard has continued to find small keys in Turtle Rock. So he's going through still. There's the bow for Sakura.
Yep. And let's see what Mimic Cave gets us.
A shield.
Not what we're looking for, that's for sure.
I mean, yeah, Willard has a second shield now. That one he picked up looks like it was progressive, so it upgraded the shield he was already gifted,
Correct.
But not too great. Of course, Sakura running around with 3 shields because people seem to have been nicer in their gifts to her.
Yeah, the very early part of the seed, there was definitely a lot of generosity. That's why Saku has that butter sword, which she's had for quite a long time.
Almost an hour at this point.
Oh yeah, I think she had that 10 minutes in, tops.
All
7 minutes in, according to Tara, and if there's anybody we can trust on that, it is her. Or him. Sorry, I did just call Tara her. And,
that's right. I was going to let it slide.
Yeah.
I was just going to move past it, though I'm sure chat would have picked up on it.
We were already questioned once about... Okay, well, Tara... Alrighty. Great.
Alright, so Willard taking that monkey... looks like no one managed to rob him in time, so he's going to be able to open up Dark Palace.
Yes, and chat point out, Saku actually does have a 1 crystal lead on Willard right now.
Yeah, we'll see if she ends up dipping into Turtle Rock, which was mostly a wash for Willard, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately Willard, I don't believe he got the big key, so he was unable to continue further back into the dungeon and had to bail out.
So that one's going to be locked behind Fire Rod, which, despite my wishes, is not in Turtle Rock.
Correct. Now, he is going to be able to go in and just finish Eastern very quickly here, this ice spell notwithstanding.
If someone casts ice on Willard before the boss fight...
I mean, he's got ice right now.
Yeah, and if it's refreshed, does that mean he gets to fight Ice Armos potentially twice tonight?
Yes, actually, yes. And It is an interesting one. Yeah, I will tell you that if you're pretty proficient in the NMG kill, now this is going to be one of those rooms where Willard is going to have to be a little bit cautious. Because yeah, he knows he's waiting it out.
He's waiting out the clock.
Yeah, because he knows that he's gonna get pushed into EG if he goes down there right now. Hopefully, he gets just a moment, an instant, to walk down the staircase.
And then he's gonna have another staircase 2 rooms later.
That's very true. Although that staircase does not require a layer transition, so he should be fine there.
What a fascinating game.
Absolutely. In no way, shape, or form is this game broken. Everything is perfect. And here we go with some more ice. Now this does have a tendency to make that cannonball room a little bit interesting, as well as the Igor room right before it.
Oh no. Or oh yes.
The Igor room, actually, if you have kind of perfect NMG movement, which Will did not there, it's actually about the same, but it does require a little bit of extra lead time, which he did not give it. Making good use of the boots, though, to get through there. Ooh, that was a little bit close, but he did manage to make it happen.
And Sakura's headed through Turtle Rock as well, making, I think, the calculated gamble that we know doesn't pay off.
Yep, unfortunately for her. Excellent job getting rid of those Igors. Now, I did forget that Willard has silvers, which will make this substantially easier with the ice physics.
Yeah, he can kind of just... I was going to say he can stand in place, but he's not doing that.
Yeah, he can't quite stand perfectly still, but yeah. Saku dealing with some ice physics here in the Chain Chomp's room. Definitely. Oh, and getting her block eaten by the Chain Chomp.
Yeah, not a place I want to be dealing with ice here, as she gets cast on her right away.
Generally not, but, you know, chat has decided that it's her time to deal with some ice physics.
Meanwhile, Willard's got that crystal from Eastern, and now he's going to head into Pod, which is a pendant dungeon. But hey, pendant. And we've got, what, 6 chests in here?
Yes. Yeah, we've got, well, yeah, it's 5 treasures in here that we can find.
The thing about Key Sanity is I've forgotten all my regular dungeon counts.
It does have that effect on you. It kind of messes you up.
Now, something's happened on Sakura's side.
Right, so what
possibly
we've seen,
as a result of ice.
Yeah, so what we've seen here on Saku's side is that that EG happened again here. So we're gonna have to figure out a way to to get her out of this. So I'm sure that she's yeah, there we go.
And that'll get her out.
Yeah, so she's just able to mirror right back out. No big deal.
Meanwhile, Willard found the Butter Sword in Palace of Darkness. So that is maybe not all the swords the game wanted them to get, but certainly is full levels of sword for our runners.
Yeah. So one thing you may also notice is that Saku has 0 health because our dev, who is monitoring the server, actually tried to kill her to get her out of there.
Fascinating insight into the underbelly guts of this game.
Yeah. Now her health has got... There we go.
All right, that looks all good.
Yeah, she should be all right at this point. a little bit of commentator help, just FYI, but no, I think so. Chat wondering if Willard should be if Willard should be getting some sort of penalty. I don't think so. I think we're in a fair place right now.
I think so. Let's obviously he's not going to do it on his first pass here, but let's see if Willard ends up trying the hammer yump. He may not need to in Palace of Darkness, strictly need to, but this is WillardJBradley. He might be doing it. He might try it just to show off.
You know, I applaud the effort if he does. I think it should happen. For everybody wondering what's going on Sakura's side, she accidentally turned on turbo on her Y button, and she's trying to figure out how to turn it off. So if anybody knows what the keybind is by default in SNES 9X for Y button turbo, feel free to respond and chat with that. Okay, and Willard has gotten the big key of pod. Okay, hold on.
Alright, so Willard didn't go for the hammer yump, which disappoints me slightly, but at least he's making his way through the dark maze. And big chest of Palace of Darkness only has a piece of heart for him.
Yep. Oh, Saku is hitting all the hotkeys. And yes, Saku runs, I believe, with the HQ3X filter.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So far, Palace of Darkness not giving Willard anything.
Yeah, and I will be right back.
All right. Willard's going to head through to Helmasaur King, I expect. And we'll see if that gives him something, or if the green pendant does. Otherwise, he's kind of out of luck. Sakura, meanwhile, I think she might have her inputs figured out now. SNES 9X being a bit finicky with those hotkeys. As Willard gets his armor debuffed as he heads towards Helmasaur King. Nice time for that. Hopefully he gets into the fight before that actually takes effect. Alright. So Sakura making her way through Turtle Rock now. Probably just needs to fix a layer, and she'll be back in motion in just a second or two. As Willard heads through the dark rooms, fortunately with that buttered sword, thanks to the inputs of chat earlier, taking out turtles goes really fast. And armor debuff on Willard wearing off just before Helmasaur fight, unfortunately. Oh my gosh, trying to hit this thing with a hammer when you have ice physics turned on is not an easy task. At least to do so without getting hit, as Willard's just bodying Helmasaur. Much as he likes hugs, Willard, those hugs don't damage him, they only damage you. Fortunately, only 2 hits with the gold sword needed, as Willard can take that out with only 2 hearts remaining. Well done on his part, but only the compass dropping there. This entire thing might have been a bust for Willard. Yeah, sadly that armor debuff coming in just as Willard's fight, or going away just as Willard's fight ended, and then coming back just as Willard's fight ended. Ended. Words. But he's headed back into pod. Looks like he still hasn't done the vanilla big key chest. So he's going to have to spend some time doing that. Maybe that will be the chest that makes pod worthwhile. Welcome back, Emosar.
Hey, good to be back. I've been conversing with our runners. So yeah, at any rate.
Well, I was just telling everyone in chat how going to pod was a complete waste of time for Willard and didn't give him anything, and it was completely useless. And then he went back in, opened the vanilla big key chest, and got himself the fire rod.
Yes, yeah. And the reason I was talking to our runners is I was letting Willard know about the hotkey difficulty that Saku found herself in. So true to form, I believe Willard is grabbing a cup of coffee.
All right. Now notice that on Willard's screen, there's a green circle around the bomb, and that is blinking at a constant rate. I'm very impressed with how Willard can keep that blinking so constantly. When he's not even in the room, he's just getting coffee.
That's absolutely correct. You know, doing that is actually, it's frame perfect. Your console has to be running at a constant frame rate in order for that to blink properly. And it's really, really challenging technique. Years of practice have gone into that.
Well done on his part for that.
Absolutely.
All right, so he's going to go turn in that green pendant, maybe get something out of it.
We shall see. I'm not sure what he could possibly need at this point. I think he may just be, you know, trying to maybe account for a little bit of that hotkey shenanigans that Saku was dealing with. He is a good guy, that WillardJBradley.
All right. Willard getting a heart for his little efforts there to keep things running and even. Meanwhile, Sakura is going to head into the same eastern area. I really hope she doesn't end up trying to clear too much of Palace of Darkness, but at the same time, she better not skip it entirely.
We shall see. You know, I think interestingly enough, it was the vanilla big key chest that had the fire rod, right? So, depending on how she chooses to route it, you know, this could go very well for her.
Yeah, the trick is going to be to bail as soon as she finds that, but of course, I don't blame her for sticking with the whole dungeon. You expect a lot of good things out of pod.
Yeah, ordinarily it's a pretty good play. Right now we're so close to go mode for both of these runners, though.
Yeah, that's right. What is still required for go mode? Willard's got the fire rod now. That can't have put him in go mode, can it have?
The fire rod?
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have go mode on our hands here.
I think we do.
My apologies for not pointing that out earlier.
Willard with the rare...
I was expecting him to have to find the GT big key.
Yeah. Now, I did enjoy that rare indoor shovel dash from Willard. That's, you know, it's always nice to see and appreciated.
And yeah, chat pointing out correctly that means, you know, Misery Mire being a pendant dungeon. Flute is not somewhere these runners have to pick it up.
I gotta tell you,
we're not gonna see any of those flute deactivations.
Yeah, I'm really sad about that, to be honest. You know, the flute deactivations, in my opinion, are one of the best trolls in this thing, and you know, I'm so sad.
The good news is SakuraTsubasa is going to pick up the fire rod here. That's going to put her in go mode as well.
Let's see if
she realizes it faster than I did, she can get through the rest of the seed pretty quickly.
It doesn't look like she's realized yet, but we still got time. We're running out of time.
Oh, Willard getting hit 2, 3, 4 times by the same BMOS.
Yeah, those BMOS can be awfully mean, and when you've got ice physics, it's quite a thing.
And now I can see commands in chat trying to order up a Saku, you're in go mode message being sent to her. Unfortunately, we don't have that capacity yet.
Yeah. Now, I do think that would be an interesting feature. Probably too brutally abusable, but the ability to actually send a message to a runner, maybe with moderator approval, that would be kind of interesting.
I can see it being a bit like Zelda 1 randomizer hints, where you get so many messages coming in, you don't know which ones to trust and which ones are just
that's a good idea. We could have pre-authored messages that you could choose from. That would be interesting. We could do it like be like Phantasy Star Online back in the day. Just be able to pick emojis and send them.
Oh, and looks like Willard busted out the Cane of Burnistrats, goes for a spin, and takes down Lanmo that way.
Pretty good idea, to be honest.
Yeah, especially when you have quarter magic.
Oh, definitely. And keeping those armor debuffs coming. So although his graphics will not change, Willard does have green mail right now.
Yeah, while you stepped away, we saw some attempts at debuffing his armor for the Helmosaur fight. And they, unfortunately, the timing didn't quite work. It wore off before his fight and came in just at the end.
That's unfortunate.
And as it was, he was down to 2 hearts in the fight.
Oh my goodness.
Alright, so Willard, having taken out Lanmo, is now at 5 crystals. Just Skull Woods and Turtle Rock to go.
Yep, so he's going to get to route this real nicely.
Meanwhile, Sakura, you're in go mode. Sakura, get out of here.
I was hoping.
Go to Skull Woods, please.
I was hoping those slashes were the "oh, I'm in go mode" slashes, but they do not appear to have been.
Actually, I take that back. Sakura, don't go to Skull Woods. Go to Eastern Palace first, please.
Oh, definitely.
All right. So you said you've done most of these boss fights with ice physics on.
I have, yes.
What happens in the Moth boss fight?
It's an interesting question. In some ways it's easier because the conveyor belts don't really affect you in the same way. However, those spikes are still a concern. And
yeah, I'd be really worried about the spikes.
Yes.
Fortunately, no matter how much your armor goes down, those spikes are going to do the same amount of damage.
That's correct. So this is one boss where an armor debuff doesn't really actually hurt you meaningfully.
Well, that ice spell got cast on Willard, but it didn't have any time to take effect. Very clean kill.
Yeah, I think because he was able to get that double hit off the dash and then with Butter Sword, it's a very, very, very straightforward fight with Butter Sword.
Fantastic fight. All right, Sakura has left the Palace of Darkness, did not fight Helmosaur along the way. So that leads me to believe she's realized she's in go mode, and she's going for it right now.
I think so. Willard.
Just like Willard did, she's got silvers.
Yep. Willard, meanwhile, making his way up to Turtle Rock. Unfortunately, he's not able to get that that hook speed or the spin speed, because if you get that effect while you're in ice physics, you actually just stop. You can't move until you cancel it with dash.
Really?
That is correct, yeah. It is
that the way the game's programmed?
That is exactly the way the game is programmed, yep. Basically, ice physics was intended to work in a few places and not in the other 99.9% of places, and strange things happen.
I want to give a shout out to Fantalis for dropping ice physics so perfectly timed that it was just as Sakura started her fight. And I want to give a shout out to her blue cane, which is doing all the work in this boss fight.
I think with that quarter magic, this is a very oh, and she actually got the quick kill on the last armor as well.
Nicely done.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
In the case where that's what happens, blue cane is actually my preferred way to kill the Armos. It's not fast, but boy is it satisfying to just kick back and let the fight resolve itself.
Yeah, definitely when the game plays itself on autopilot, it can be entertaining. Now Willard is just going to have to go through here, collect these right side chests, then he gets to run through a little bit of Turtle Rock because he's already done it. And as we get closer to the end of the race here, one thing I want to let you guys know, any bits that you have remaining on your balance for bit races stay with this channel. So in the future, when we have additional bit races here, all that credit that you have, if you haven't managed to use it all by the end of this one, will still be applicable, and you'll be able to use it without donating again.
And just to make sure I understand right, that's for any races on A Link to the Past Randomizer, this channel specifically, right?
That's correct. So that balance carries forward, but it is per channel.
Oh, Sakura maybe not realizing she's in go mode. It looks like she's headed to the pyramid.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what she's doing right now, or what she's looking for.
Well, she's not picking up the item on that ledge.
Yeah, Lord of the Set. We will see if we can get that number for you. I'm not sure if we'll be able to or publishing it right away, but it will be interesting to see. And while we're on that subject, thank you all so much for participating in this event today. I hope you guys have had a lot of fun. We've certainly had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we haven't been able to call out every single thing that happened, partly because I was trying to focus on the race, and partly because there have been so many things flying at these runners that there was no way to keep up with it.
Absolutely.
So mushroom being turned in for potential 100 rupees. Sakura does not need that. She's going to continue on to catfish.
Yeah, I am still confused as to what she's actually looking for.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if just with everything that happened around getting warped to Ganon, then the input's not working right, she just got a bit off track in terms of what she still needed for go mode.
You know, it's entirely possible, but I don't know. It might be that Meyer thing, but at a certain point, she's going to run out of options, and she's going to have to... She's checking her inventory right now. She may have just realized that she is, in fact, in go mode.
Meanwhile, Willard doing laser skips here finds the bug net on the laser bridge, so we might see Swaganum 2 from him, but probably not.
All right, so as expected, Willard ran right through Turtle Rock, finding this this last room here in Turtle Rock a little bit challenging with the ice physics. I can confirm it's annoying.
I like this play where he realizes trying to stop and start is the hardest part of ice physics.
Yeah.
So why not just go straight through and take the longer route that ends up being faster in terms of total time.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, getting
oh no,
getting a little bit trolled by the staircase here.
Good recovery there.
Yeah, ice physics are
Maybe.
super cool, guys. And you can see we've we made the game a little bit interesting.
And there goes the ice spell off of him.
Yeah,
it does come back on, but I think he's made it through.
He'd made it through, so I think we're all right now. He does have to be a little bit careful on this platform because, as you can see, he can actually move on the platform. So it's a little bit dangerous.
And Sakura's headed over to Skull Woods with that fire rod now, so I think she's realized she's in go mode, and it's just a matter of time for her to finish up the race at this point.
Yeah, and Willard with Butter Sword able to make quick work of that Trinex, thankfully. I was particularly impressed, actually, by his transition over to the right-hand side head. That was actually really, really good. And Willard entertaining us all with a little bit of item dash breakdancing here on the ice.
Trinex sent a heart to Willard. As Willard picks up his 7th crystal. So he's going to head over to Ganon's tower. Imosaru.
Yes.
What does that mean, that he's on his way to Ganon's tower?
Well, means that we're on our way to Ganon's tower. And that's pretty important.
Okay, I see a bunch of numbers being dropped in chat. Do you have any idea
why
chat's doing that?
I suppose we could do that. So a thing that we often do here on the restreamed A Link to the Past races is we like to play a little game where we try to guess which chest in Ganon's tower we will find the big key in. For anybody who doesn't know, though it looks like most of you do, there are 22 item locations in the bottom of Ganon's tower, and one of them will contain our big key. If you guess correctly, you will win nothing, but we will applaud you for your intuition.
Oh, is that why people were putting numbers in? I thought they were telling us how old they were.
Oh, well, you know, I didn't call for ASL, but, you know, if it happens, it happens.
All right, so it looks like Willard skipped the right side entirely there.
So that right side
just went straight.
That right side is a little bit tougher with ice physics, so he may be banking on trying to do slightly more forgiving left side. If you think about that torch room on the right side, you might imagine that it's between the slow movement from the boots and the slidey business, and it turned out to be the right choice.
That looked like chest number 4?
I believe that's correct. The torch and the 3rd chest in that room.
If you guessed number 4, or if you told me you were 4 years old tonight, you win the game, which, as we said, provides nothing.
Yes.
But you can be pleased with yourself.
Willard struggling a little bit to walk through stairs with the ice physics. These things happen.
It's like every day, every staircase is that one staircase in Swamp Palace.
That's exactly correct. And Willard and Saku, very fortunate to have silver arrows coming in here. It's going to make a lot of this a lot easier, but in particular Ganon. Now the hardest part of Ice Physics Ganon tends to be Phase 2, assuming you have the silver arrows. Otherwise, getting your silverless hits in can definitely be tricky, but is absolutely doable.
Now, they've got the silver arrows picked up already. And we don't have a command to remove the option of silvers.
That's correct. So they're going to have the easier time of doing this. Willard falling off and... Oh.
Twice.
That's unfortunate.
I do want to point out again, although the price has gone up, that option still exists on the menu.
Absolutely.
To remove the arrows from the runners. Now, Again, I'm not saying fire that off on the runners. I'm not condoning messing with them. But just a reminder, there are arrow pickups as the runners go through Ganon's tower. So, again, not saying you should do this, but if you do, make sure they're past that point.
Absolutely. I think during that cutscene when we're flying to the pyramid would be a really excellent time to remove, let's say, 23 arrows at the moment from WillardJBradley.
Now, again, as the runners got more crystals, the price on removing arrows went up, so it is, I think, 70 bits an arrow. Don't feel that anyone needs to take that on their own.
Oh, of course not.
I'd like to see people band together on this.
Yeah, I think when there's a great evil in the world, it's important for us all to rise up together, you know, to keep the peace and you know, keep society functioning. And in this particular case, we've got WillardJBradley on the right-hand side of the screen with presently 23 silver arrows. And I think it's worth considering our role in this. Now this torch room can be really interesting. He's very fortunate that he doesn't have ice physics right now, so he's getting off easy here. I can tell you that this room in particular is very, very frustrating with ice physics, especially when it kicks in the middle of the room when you're not expecting it.
Oh, now that's a great play. Willard just had his bombs stolen right before the door needs to open. I support
that. I definitely support that.
It looks like he's trying to find some in the chests here, but he's not going to have any luck.
Yeah,
he does know about that one under a pot.
Yes, but he's going to have to use it fast. And unfortunately, oh, he got it out. He got it out. So
as an armor debuff comes into him, which hit him a bit harder than normal.
Well, he did, you know, get hit by. Well, let's see. I forget. I think the big spikes also do fixed damage.
And lucky enough to find 10 arrows in that chest at the top of the tower, so that brings his total to 33.
Yeah, unfortunately, insulating himself from that arrow takedown. And a very quick, very clean Mortal 2 fight. Willard appears to be dishing up a little justice, and he will be showing us the frame by frame here on the Zelda 2 down stab on the chest. Now I don't know if this this staircase appears to be good.
Well, he could have been waiting there for a while if he was trying to wait for an
he
ice
absolutely could have been. You know, they could have delayed him pretty much indefinitely. Although with the chest spawned and opened, he could have opted to fall and hook across again and wait wherever he chose to.
Meanwhile, Sakura's been blazing through Turtle Rock. She doesn't have ice physics. I spoke too soon.
Yeah.
But she made it through most of the room without ice physics, so she got to take the faster, more direct route than Willard had to do.
Yeah, she's also going to have some trouble with this door, but we will see if she notices that she actually walks a little bit on the platform and actually stays careful there. And Willard not having too much trouble here with this Aga 2 on ice. Ooh,
very nice pattern coming in.
Yeah. And we can see, I think, chat conspiring to try and get those arrows down.
Willard indiscriminately using the Cane of Burna, not too worried about his magic. I like how that sparkle gets left behind as he's carried away.
Absolutely.
And,
chat working for it. They want to see that silverless Ganon. They want to see it. Oh man, we're down to 7 arrows. Willard making excellent use of those dash strats, despite the boots moving a little bit slow on ice physics. They do allow you to do those really quick dashes with the sword out and get those really quick hits inside the fire circle.
Now, the other thing that can happen here, of course, is someone has been trying to take away Willard's sword levels.
Yes. Unfortunately, looks like Willard may have had a little bit of a connection hiccup, which may have delayed that sword effect, unfortunately.
Well, he's made it through to phase 3. He just has to keep up with Ganon flitting around the room here. Phase 4 now. He's very close to the edge.
Also missing with that first shot, just slightly too far off to the left. And no torch glitch for WillardJBradley.
Fortunately, Quarter Magic, he's going to have plenty for that.
Yes. Everything a little bit harder with ice physics, that's for sure.
That's 3 silver hits so far.
Oh,
and he's out of arrows.
Out of arrows. The arrows have been taken.
Well done, chat. Stealing away Willard's arrows. He's going to have to get those last, I think, 3 hits on Ganon's Silverless.
So we do see now Willard is in a little bit of trouble because he missed that torch glitch. And
well, that's 2 hits so far.
Yes, yeah. So this is so fortunately for Willard, he was able to get in a few hits with the silvers prior. So the damage will stack with that. So he doesn't have to get quite as many.
That magic bar is running low. Oh my gosh, he gets it.
He got it. G frickin' G to WillardJBradley.
Well played, essentially switching modes of play there.
Absolutely.
Doing half of the fight, I think, with silvers and half with then spins on ice physics.
Yeah.
Good job from Willard.
So now that he has walked through the door, I can tell you all that he has finished in first place with a time of 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 50 seconds. So GG to Willard.
Yeah.
Saku has grabbed that big key and she's going to make her way up the gauntlet. So this is not a... this is pretty close in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, especially accounting for that time that Sakura was stuck dealing with menu issues and the EG to Ganon. You know, that was a substantial time sink for her. So great work from Willard so far. And I think he's just joined us.
I believe so.
Hi.
GG.
Sorry, I have hiccups and I've had them for like the last hour and I don't know what to do, so I apologize.
Did you
Chat,
find
that
affected
hiccups?
Yeah. Did you find that affected your play, or was it irrelevant?
Yeah.
Okay.
These are like some violent hiccups right now. Actually, I had to get up and walk away for a second, especially after I got that fire rod. I was like, I need to go get a glass of water. Instead, I came back with coffee, so you know how that goes.
Yeah. Well, GG, how did you find playing through that with ice physics 75% of the time and no bombs and all of that?
Look, I'm gonna need a list of all the people that straight up mugged me and took all my money. Like, right out the gate, I'm like, all right, cool, Houlihan, and it's gone. That's why when I finally got some more money, I was like, I'm just going to rush Zora before everyone steals my money again.
Yeah. Those are the strats.
But yeah, as I was going up the gauntlet, I'm like, all right, when am I going to lose all my arrows, and when am I going to lose my bombs? And then all of a sudden, boom, bombs, gone. I'm like,
yeah.
All right, well, hopefully they're not, you know, the delay is good enough that I can get that one bomb that's in the mini Helmasaur room and bomb the hole before it gets stolen. And then right as I was in the next room, I see one bomb stolen. I was like, haha, you were too late. Nice try.
Yep.
Also, shoutouts to someone who gave me a heart right as I was at the Triforce room. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you did get you got a couple hearts during the Ganon fight, but you obviously also had the remainder of your arrows stolen in the Ganon fight.
I got ice physics, and then I was going up top left diagonally to hit him with an arrow, and of course it missed. And I'm like, I'm gonna fall in the hole if I'm not careful.
That was some intense pause buffering to get out of that.
I think I was fine. I was just pause buffering to see if I need to like bring out the Cane of Samaria or something.
Right. It was a good recovery, and it worked.
But yeah, ice physics was not really too bad. It was really scary the second time I went into Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
So I just chilled and waited.
Yeah, I saw you being extra careful about that EG, even in some rooms where it's not actually an issue. Because yeah, that thing is scary when you go into EG and you just can't do anything.
I sorry. I'm assuming that was EG when I hit when I was on my way to Trinex. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden there was a blue pokey. I was like, what is this? I've never... What are you, strange gear? I felt bad killing it because I was like, this is a fine specimen. I want to take it home and do some research.
Yeah, I don't know if that was strictly EG, but definitely strange things happen with doors in this game. And
yeah, going diagonally into doors is not a safe bet. I thought I was going to like softlock, or not softlock, but have to mirror out. So that was a little scary. Yeah, it was a shiny pokey.
Yeah, there you go. Ice physics definitely not intended to work in the overwhelming majority of the locations in which we experienced them today. So lots of fun all around for sure.
Yeah. Overall, I thought the seed was pretty good. I got bailed out by my extremely rare and silly route to go straight to Eastern.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. It worked out perfectly.
It did. Which I was like, okay. Because it was like, flippers to book, and then boots at Hobo to get the hammer, get Dark World access. I never make that route. But what caused it was I did Houlihan, and then I was going to head up to go to Uncle. But then that green guard dropped a big 20. So I went down to go get that, and I was like, you know what? Let's just go this way instead. That's it. That was the only reason why I went that way, was because of that big 20.
Yeah,
it's like, I'm gonna go buy some bombs, and we'll go visit Sahashala. We'll go from there.
I mean, I was prepared to start, dropping those TGH God Vision emotes in your chat. I mean, it was some pretty intense stuff because it's never the play,
right?
It was totally the play.
Other than Back of Escape, I never ended up visiting my uncle, so I never found out if he lived or not, or was dead in the first place.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Other than that. The only options that I made that, in my opinion, were bad were diving T-Rock without the Fire Rod, for obvious reasons, and my routing in pod. You had to have the bow in order to get the Fire Rod.
Correct.
Just based on the key counts. But after I went to the back area, I was like, there's more stuff in the back. I'll go get that anyway. And then after that, didn't amount to anything but a big key. I was like, all right, I got either Helma or I got this middle chest. If the middle chest has an item, I'm less inclined to go kill Helma to get the green pendant. So I just went straight for the Helma play. And then all of a sudden, Fire Rod, when I went back in, I had a good laugh.
Now, I do have to take just a second to point out that we did just see that Bugnet Swaganem from SakuraTsubasa.
Nice.
Again, the only person I know who is actually better at the Bugnet Swaganem strat than the ordinary strat for that boss.
Where was that? That Bugnet was pretty late, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was relatively late, but she was actually gifted it along with the Cane of Burna about 5 minutes into the race. So
I had to earn my Bugnet and Cane of Burna.
You did. She also had Butter Sword about 7 minutes into the race. So
hey, it's okay. Someone gifted me two sword upgrades, so we're good.
Yeah.
Also, someone gifted me a debuff before I even got my first sword, so shouts to that.
Correct, yeah. You also got a magic debuff at some point, which is fun.
What does that do? Does that just double your cost?
Correct, yeah. Basically, it's like undoing one level of magic upgrade. But you did get gifted that quarter magic
Oh yeah,
which
that's a
was
rare
super
sight to
nice.
see. So I took advantage of it with plenty of extra fire rods and cane of burnas and whatnot.
I especially enjoyed, there was at the end of, was it Trinex? I think it was after Trinex. There was a nice little ice physics fire rod breakdance session that you did.
For sure.
Yeah, I found that particularly enjoyable.
How do you steal arrows?
Good question. So it's just a thing that you can order, and there's a cost per arrow, basically. The one thing that you should know is that the more crystals you have, the more it costs to steal an arrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so people really wanted to see a few of those silverless hits on Ganon at the end of the game.
Well, they got him. Of course, I missed the torch glitch too, because I was like, I'll be fine. I got silvers, and then gone. It's like, all right, that's fair.
All right,
well, that's what the quarter magic's for.
Yeah, for sure.
So Saku has taken down Ganon.
GG.
So she is finishing not very far behind, to be honest. So GG to her. Now that she has walked through the door, I can confirm that she finished in second place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 54 minutes and 31 seconds. So GG to both of our runners, and I'm sure
great work.
We'll get her in here momentarily. Get it? Momentarily.
Yep, big shout-outs again to our tracker, Tara, for keeping track of all that. And especially as things were getting updated, even when they didn't appear as icons on the screen.
Yes. Definitely.
So, chat, did you guys like that? Was that fun? Did you like stealing from me? Did you like that? How much does it cost to steal rupees?
Rupees, I think, are generally 1 bit per rupee, so it's 1 for 1.
I think someone stole like 461 rupees from me at one point.
Yeah, there were some pretty big robberies that occurred. For sure.
So that was the thing.
Hey, GG.
Yo, GG, Saku.
Yeah, you're like, we're not recording this, right? I was like, I sure hope not, considering what happened to me. Oh my god.
Look,
all the ice physics.
It's not a bit race until someone accidentally EGs. To Ganon.
Did that happen to Willard? Did Willard have that happen?
So Willard had several instances of going into EG during the run, but what he did not have was the going into EG and then the triggering of the turbo and the disabling of the transparency there and all of that. So that was a little extra difficulty that you had. But yeah. Also, yeah. I'm being asked to confirm with you, Saku. It seems like you may have had a moment of frustration right around the time you went to Catfish that involved a little bit of menu inspection and some thinking. Do you care to talk about that?
What?
I might have said some things. Okay, so I totally, once everything happened with running into Ganon for some reason,
yeah. So
I just totally tilted, and I found the fire rod, and for some reason I thought that I still needed the flute.
Yeah.
So, and then also there I am, I'm running around looking for the flute, and then I look at my pendants, and I'm like, wait, Misery Mire is a pendant? Why am I looking for the flute? Wait, what do I need to check to finish the dungeons? And then I realized, oh my god, I've had the fire rod for like at least a full dungeon now.
Yeah.
Wait, which dungeon were you in when you realized that?
She was out of the dungeons. She was over.
I had finished, so I found it in, what was it, Pod?
Yeah. Did you full clear Pod then?
No, I didn't. I didn't full clear Pod. I only had Helmasaur left to do, and I was like, there's no way that Helmasaur has something because it's a compass, or there's one thing left. I got all the items. Helmasaur had something. that was just a compass or a map. I don't remember.
Yeah, so interestingly, Willard, right as you were coming out of pod, Saku actually got the fire rod more quickly than you did in pod.
Well, I routed it poorly, so.
She was actually really pretty close behind you at that point, actually, but then not realizing she was in go mode, she went searching. And also, just so you know, when she was in Turtle Rock, entering the back half of the dungeon from outside, she actually had an unfortunate EG incident and ended up walking into the Ganon fight. Racing to the wall on the left-hand side of the Ganon fight, and had to mirror back out. So
I gotta watch that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun.
It was,
I'm glad I played it safe with those ice physics, but gosh dang, I pretty much fought every single boss with ice physics.
Yeah.
And the Argus one was weird because I got ice when I was like swimming in the water, and when I got out of the ladder, it just constantly pushed me to the left.
Correct. Yeah, I saw that.
So I kept on sticking to the wall, and I'm like, why is that a thing? So I had to dash to get out of there, but...
Yeah, and I will say that was I was actually really impressed by how quickly you figured out the dash strat to counteract whatever was going on there. That was actually that was pretty slick.
Good thing Hammer was required to get to that point. So
absolutely,
there wasn't anything required in Swamp, right?
Not that I can recall.
So could have go moded that one, but that's okay.
Yeah,
but this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You gotta kind of have to route a little bit differently with knowing that there are evil people watching that want to take your stuff away from you.
Correct.
Also, I was in T-Rock and I got a debuff, an armor debuff, and I was like, my armor's the same color. Let's see if this works. So I intentionally took a laser to the face. I was like, yeah, that's 4 hearts. All right, that makes sense.
So just so you guys know, for the future, the temporary debuffs and buffs will not change your sprites. But the damage values, both taken and received, or taken and given, depending on what you're buffing or debuffing, will be changed immediately. When they do permanent upgrades, it will change the sprite, but only next time you do an indoor-outdoor transition presently, and it's just because of when the game actually knows how to reload those sprites.
Yeah, because like I saw during a transition, my sword went from a large white Master Sword to a short blue Master Sword. I'm like, that's correct. That's also good, I guess.
Yeah, weird things happen.
Yeah, for sure. I had something else, but I already forgot.
Willard, I just want to caution you.
Yeah.
You're calling these people evil, but there's a very good chance they're going to see you in another bit race, and they'll remember these words that you just said about them.
Dun, dun, dun.
Are you comfortable doing that?
I mean, I'm willing to play the villain in these races if that's what it takes.
Well, that's good, because I hope that when you rewatch this VOD, you just remember that I'm, strictly here for entertainment purposes, and I would just like you to take the entertainment factor into consideration when you're judging how I behave during the commentary.
Oh, I need to see this.
I don't need that disclaimer. I explicitly told the runners not to do specific mean things.
Phileon was very nice. I just like to point out that everything I said was for entertainment purposes only, and if chat were to take it seriously, then that's really on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So just be aware of that.
So it's funny that happened to me today. The unfortunate EG incidents with this on the end of it there, because
I feel like at least you would have more experience dealing with that, since I've never. This is my first time doing one of these, so I have no idea how ice physics work in the dungeons.
I've never had that happen ever.
Ever?
Never. I did end up in the wall a few times.
I did once in T-Rock, and I turned a Pokey Blue. It was neat.
I did twice in Swamp. I had to mirror out both times because I was stuck in the wall because somebody
because you moved diagonally into the wall.
Yeah, it was ice physics that did it. But ironically, about 3 days ago, somebody was telling me, they said, those pipes in T-Rock? They're actually not really pipes. There's like a big hole there. And ironically, today is the day I found out where the hole actually leads.
Oh no!
Yeah.
So you fell out of one of the pipes and that took you to Ganon or something?
I didn't fall out of them. I was walking along the I don't know. I had ice physics. I walked down the stairs. It kind of did weird things. And I don't know if that was another layer or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as I was walking with ice physics to the right to avoid the anti-fairy, I somehow fell into the hole of the pipe.
Weird.
And I think I went to another layer or something that I shouldn't have been on.
You definitely did.
It was not good. But I had no idea. But the whole rest of the game, my graphics were all kinds of messed up. So I don't think we actually fixed it.
So for future, if someone steals my money, can I do a soft reset to get that money back?
That's mean.
You know, Willard, I think that I know that you're.
He's used to cheating.
It's not cheating.
It's cheating. You can't do that.
Can I soft reset at Ganon to get my arrows back? Is that fine?
Yeah, no, Willard, I have a question for you really quick. Did you notice the message that you got on screen at one point?
Yes.
Vis-a-vis the cheating.
I saw something, but it was there for a second. And I'm assuming it said something very nice and positive about me as a person, as an individual.
100%.
100%. I'll go back and look and just confirm that what I'm saying right now is in fact true.
Right. On a more serious note, with the ice physics, one thing that I found when I was testing this is that it's not actually so much the ice physics themselves, it's the transitions from ice to regular or regular to ice. You're not expecting them. I don't know if you found the same thing.
It messes with your muscle memory quite a bit. So like, I'm so used to like walking diagonally and slashing a bunch when I'm in ice physics, and then when it's gone, it's like, oh, I can move normally. Oh gosh, that's terrifying. So the Ganon fight was especially weird. Well, most of the fights are weird because I'd get ice physics like either halfway through it or halfway through it, the ice physics would end, and I'm like, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah. Now, one thing I do want to mention, we obviously had a lot of fun and entertaining stuff happen today with the ice physics and stairs and the exploration glitch and all of that sort of stuff. It's a known issue, and it's something that we're hoping to get fixed at some point, but I will admit it's very, very entertaining as it is right now. So long as you have some good-natured and fun-spirited runners like we do today.
I think my favorite part was I was on my way to fight Trinex, and then a message popped up that said Trinex has used an ice spell.
Yeah.
I had that too, but then I got stuck in a door.
Perfect timing. It's like, oh, Trinex, how dare you?
Yeah.
The door that leads to the room right before Trinex, if you try to walk through it with ice physics, it will not let you through that door. I had to wait for ice physics to end in order to get through it. I could have permanently been stuck there.
I think you both did. You both, at least Willard noticed, I don't know if you happen to notice, Saku, but when you have ice physics and you're on a Samaria platform, you're actually not locked in place.
Yes, I did know that from a previous run.
It was shaking like crazy when I was vibrating my controller.
Then don't spin like that.
Yeah.
But it's fun. What else do you do on those little Samaria blocks?
It is actually possible to walk off them.
I have done that.
So yeah.
Neat. I just want to just reconfirm in chat that I would never soft reset to take away your thievery. I promise. It was merely a joke.
He adheres to the thieves' code. He will cheat, but
I will use overworld glitches, dude. I would love to do an overworld glitches version next time.
Oh, I think that would be great fun, actually. But we need the command to take away the boots.
Just imagine, like
no, I want the old man run.
Old man.
Oh yeah.
That's something.
is
in the works, I think.
I totally dashed through that entire cave with the old man because I was like, that's the same with dashing with ice physics. So no.
Well, and interestingly, it was a great way to move in straight lines, which is one of the harder things to do with ice physics.
Yeah. It's just the thing with like ice physics and overworld glitches, you have to set up hook speed or spin speed a lot. And of course, with ice physics, you stand perfectly still. You can't move. You're stuck.
Correct.
So it would be entertaining to mess with people in that. But
Absolutely.
Yeah, this was fun. I definitely want to see, instead of ice physics, I want. Can you do like temporary hover boots?
Ooh, no,
that would be really interesting.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of things that are possible. You know, it requires a coordinated effort across a few different sides of the problem, but you know, I think this is definitely early days for this, but it's a lot of fun already, and I think it only gets more fun from here.
Oh, and we have, wasn't temporary one-hit KO? Was that an option?
I think there are a bunch of things that are under discussion.
Yeah,
all of which would be fun. But
how about insta death?
Insta death is one that's on the list. Yeah.
Erase file. Is that one of them too?
Oh my god, that sounds terrible.
Pretty brutal.
Oh my god, get in fight.
Yeah.
I also would love for one that I don't know how that would work, but it essentially recreates a mirror functionality, so it would mirror you out of a dungeon.
Oh, interesting. I mean, that's probably very, very doable, actually.
Or just using the item you have in your hand at the time.
Oh,
You're just spamming fire rod at nothing.
Yeah, just a random, like you just randomly use ether or something.
Or the flute.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Triggering the flute like involuntarily would be pretty interesting. I agree with a few people in chat. I know we've talked about this in Discord. I want reversing all the inputs on your D-pad.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I like it.
Yep.
I'm very, very sad that we didn't get the flute. The flute was not required because one of my favorite debuffs that you can get in the game is actually deactivating the flute, which is great fun to do right after fluting to Mire area or to Turtle Rock and forcing them to walk back over to the swag duck totem and reactivate your flute.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool things on the go. I hope you guys, honestly, I hope everyone enjoyed today, because I know I did. I was sitting there at the base of Ganon's tower going, how has Willard not done yet? Because of all the time I spent running around looking for this. And I was like, he must have got ice physics.
Oh,
I've got a lot of ice physics.
Lots of ice physics. Yeah. I'd love to go back and do a comparison to see what percentage of the game I was in ice physics while you weren't.
Well, I had Butter Sword 5 minutes in.
Yeah. I heard. I had Temperate Sword. I think it was like 50 minutes in, or no, earlier than that. But I got my gold sword in one of the dungeons, and skipped the one that was on Spec Rock.
Spec Rock?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it's because all of the ones that I saw turned to rupees.
Oh, well,
maybe.
I only found. Well, I found 3 swords, but I only picked up 2. But I was gifted 2 swords, so that's cool.
Yeah, sorry.
You were also gifted the Cane of Burna and the Bug Net very early, which I'm sure made you very happy.
I actually almost contemplated going straight to egging him at that point, and just for swagging him.
Oh.
But then I realized I didn't have the lamp, so I
Right.
was sadly disappointed.
Bummer.
Yeah.
I do want to thank you for that Burna fight that you gave us on Armos, though. That was a lot of fun to see.
I was shocked actually that you ended up getting the quick kill on the very last night because you killed the last 2 at the exact same frame.
Yep.
Which
I
was
did.
Yeah, that was
Mad
very,
skills.
very cool, very fortunate.
I used mine for Land Mola because that was fun.
Yeah.
When you got quarter magic, you might as well just take a break, stand still, let them die. But yeah, this was a lot of fun, and thank you again, all of y'all, for inviting me to come race and show this off.
Of course.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you for
racing
doing
me.
the run and sitting through all that spam from chat.
Of course.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. Chat's amazing. Thanks, guys, for all your help, and thanks for hindering Willard. Hashtag Team Saku.
God.
There you go.
GG's.
Well, with that, I want to say thank you to Tear for tracking. Thank you to Clifford TBRD for restreaming this for us. Thank you, of course, to Phileon for commentating this with me.
Thanks to you too, Emo.
Thank you. And thanks to all of you in chat. We had a ton of fun. I hope you guys had a ton of fun, and definitely expect more of this in the future. So with that, have a good one.
Good night, everyone.